Good evening, Blackpine. Eddy Franklin here on KBPN 104.7 FM. Today is Sunday, October 28th, 2007. The time is a minute past 10. Welcome to Blackpine After Dark. Now, I'm guessing my audience is smaller than usual tonight. Half of you are probably still down at the festival right now, listening to the band or getting another caramel apple. But for those of you who are home already, exhausted like me, or for those who couldn't make it to the festival today for whatever reason, this one's for you. I just got home about an hour ago. Spent most of the day down there, Saturday too for that matter, and let me tell you, my feet are absolutely killing me. I've walked more in the past 2 days than I have in the past 2 months combined. But it was worth every step. The festival's been wonderful so far. Main Street's packed with people. The weather's been perfect, and the whole town smells like apple cider and fried dough and wood smoke. That smell gets into your clothes and hair, and you carry it home with you. My wife and I both smell like we've been deep-frying apples all weekend, which isn't far from the truth considering how much we've been eating. The energy down there is something special. Everyone's out, everyone's happy, kids running around with their faces painted, people catching up with neighbors they haven't seen in months. That's what the festival does. It brings the whole town together in one place at one time, and that doesn't happen often anymore. So if you're listening from your couch right now, instead of being down there, I appreciate you keeping me company. Let's talk about what's been happening down there, and today I'm going to tell you the story of how this whole festival started. Stick around. So the Harvest Festival kicked off yesterday morning with the opening ceremony in the square. Mayor Hutchins gave a speech about community and tradition and the importance of supporting local farms, the usual stuff, but he means it, and people listened. Then they cut the ribbon and opened Main Street, and that was it. Festival officially started. Attendance has been excellent. Saturday was packed. Today was even more so. Tomorrow's supposed to be busy, too, since it's the last weekday before Halloween. And Tuesday, they'll do the closing ceremony and raffle drawings. If you haven't been yet, you've still got 2 days. The pie-eating contest happened this afternoon at 2, just like they planned. Winner was Danny Morrison. Works at the mill. Big guy. Nobody was surprised. He put away an entire apple pie in 4 minutes and 32 seconds, which is genuinely impressive and also slightly horrifying to watch. Second place went to Sheriff Dawes, of all people, which got a huge laugh from the crowd. I gotta say, I didn't think the sheriff could down a pie in under 5 minutes, but he did. Unfortunately for him, he was second best. There's always next year, Sheriff. The booths have been doing well. Mrs. Doris's apple fritters sold out completely by 2 on Saturday. I managed to get 2 portions before they were gone, so I consider myself lucky. The Blackpine Cider Company booth has had a line all weekend. Miller's Market set up a stand selling their local products, and from what Bill told me earlier, they've moved a lot of honey and preserves. Live music's been going all weekend. Local bands mostly, some high school kids, a folk group from Cedarville. Nothing fancy, but it's good. Creates a nice atmosphere while you're walking around. And here's something that warmed my heart. I ran into David Chen and Jennifer at the festival this afternoon. You might remember David wrote in last week asking me to read a message on air for Jennifer, telling her he had feelings for her. Well, they were there together, holding hands, looking happy. They stopped to say hello, and David introduced me to Jennifer properly. She said she'd been listening last Sunday and nearly dropped her phone when she heard David's message. They went to dinner Tuesday night, and apparently it went well. They both thanked me, which was sweet, though I didn't do anything except read a letter, but it was nice to see. Young love, you know. It's good to see it work out sometimes. Now, the bear situation. Last week I mentioned there'd been 3 sightings of a black bear near the hiking trails past Hadley's Orchards. This week, no sightings at all. Sheriff Dawes thinks all the noise and activity from the festival probably encouraged the bear to stay deeper in the forest, which is fine by everyone. Bears don't like crowds any more than some people do. But remember the rhyme, if you do encounter a bear, if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lie down. If it's white, good night. If a black bear attacks you, which is rare, you fight back because they're usually just being defensive. The brown bear part is about grizzlies. Play dead because fighting makes it worse. And if it's white, that's a polar bear. And if you're seeing polar bears in Blackpine, you're either very lost or something's gone terribly wrong with the climate. But like I said last week, the best bear encounter is no bear encounter. Make noise when you're hiking, don't surprise them, give them space. The bear we've got around here just wants to eat and be left alone. Let's keep it that way. That's the festival update and the news. Let me take a quick break, and when I come back, I'll tell you how this whole festival started in the first place. It's a better story than you might think. Back in a moment. My wife made soup for dinner tonight before I came up here. Potato leek, warm and filling, exactly what I needed after being on my feet all day. She's downstairs now reading, probably already in her pajamas. Smart woman. I'll join her in a bit. Once we're done here, curl up on the couch and maybe have another bowl of that soup. But for now, it's just us up here in the attic. All right, let me tell you about how the Harvest Festival began, because it's a story about abundance and community and making the best of a problem that seemed overwhelming at the time. It was 1921. The orchards around Blackpine had been established for about 20 years at that point, and they were doing well, really well, maybe a little too well. That year, every orchard in the valley had an exceptional harvest, and I mean exceptional. Trees so heavy with apples that branches were breaking under the weight. The weather had been perfect all summer. The bees had been active. Pollination was excellent. And come September, there were more apples than anyone knew what to do with. Now, you might think that's a good problem to have. More apples means more money, right? But here's the issue: storage. In 1921, storage options were limited. You could keep apples in cold cellars for a while, but not indefinitely. You could make cider, but that takes time and equipment. And with this much fruit coming in all at once, there was no way to process it all fast enough before it started to spoil. You could make preserves, apple butter, dried apples, but again, there's a limit. And the apples just kept coming. Orchards were picking every day, filling crates and barrels, and running out of places to put them. Some apples started rotting right there on the ground because there was no way to harvest and process them all fast enough. The orchard owners were starting to panic. All this fruit, all this potential income, and it was going to waste. They'd worked all year for this harvest, and now they were watching it spoil. That's when Martha Brennan, mother of Robert Brennan, who some of you older folks might remember as mayor back in the 60s and 70s, had an idea. Martha was married to one of the orchard owners, and she was watching her husband stress about all these apples they couldn't sell. She suggested something simple. If Blackpine can't use all these apples, invite people from other towns to come get them. Not sell them necessarily, just come get them. Take as many as you want. Come to Blackpine, enjoy our town, and take home apples. Her husband thought she was crazy. Give away apples after all the work they'd put in? But Martha pointed out that the alternative was letting them rot, which meant getting nothing. At least if they gave them away, people would come to Blackpine. They'd spend money at local businesses while they were here. They'd see what the town had to offer. And maybe next year, when the harvest was normal, they'd remember Blackpine and come back to buy apples. The other orchard owners heard about Martha's idea, and after some debate, they agreed. What did they have to lose at this point? So they organized what they called the Harvest Festival. They put up signs in Cedarville, Lincoln, and other nearby towns. Come to Blackpine, October 15th and 16th. Fresh apples, cider, food, music. Bring your family. They set up tables on Main Street with crates of apples. Take as many as you want. They made fresh cider and sold it cheap. Local women set up booths selling apple pies, apple butter, apple crisps. Someone brought out a fiddle and played music. The church ladies organized a bake sale. It was informal, thrown together in about 2 weeks, but it worked. People came, hundreds of people from surrounding towns, driving in with wagons and early automobiles, bringing their families. They walked Main Street, filled their bags and baskets with apples, bought food, listened to music, met their neighbors. Kids ran around playing while adults talked and ate and enjoyed the October weather. By the end of that weekend, most of the surplus apples were gone, not sold, given away. But the town had been full of people, and those people had spent money at the general store, at the restaurants, at the various booths. Local businesses did better that weekend than they had all month. More importantly, people had enjoyed themselves. They'd had a good time in Blackpine, and they told their friends about it. The next year, the orchard owners decided to do it again, even though the harvest was normal. They called it the Harvest Festival again, same weekend in October. This time, they charged a small amount for the apples. Not much, just enough to be fair, but they kept everything else: the booths, the music, the food, the community atmosphere. It became an annual tradition. Every October, the Harvest Festival. Some years the harvest was big, some years it was modest, but the festival happened regardless. It grew over time. More booths, more activities, more music. By the 30s, it was a 3-day event. By the 50s, it was 4 days. Now it's 2007, and we're still doing it. 86 years after Martha Brennan suggested giving away surplus apples to save the orchards from waste. The festival has become one of the most important weekends of the year for Blackpine, economically, socially, culturally. It's when the town shows itself off, when we celebrate the harvest that saved us after the logging industry left, when we come together as a community. Martha Brennan died in 1956, but her idea outlived her by decades and will probably outlive all of us. That's a legacy worth having, creating something that brings people together, that turns a problem into a celebration, that reminds us why community matters. So when you're down at the festival tomorrow or Tuesday, eating your apple fritter or drinking your cider, think about 1921. Think about Martha Brennan looking at all those rotting apples and deciding that abundance should be shared, not wasted. Think about how one practical idea turned into a tradition that's lasted nearly a century. That's the story of the Harvest Festival. I love it because it's so Blackpine, practical, community-minded, and centered around apples. We've always been good at making the best of what we have. All right, let me take another break. When I come back, I'll get to some of your letters and teach you something about apples that you might not know. Back in a moment. It's louder tonight than usual. I can hear the festival from here, even up in the attic. Music drifting up from Main Street, people talking and laughing, the whole town buzzing with energy. It's nice. The town feels alive in a way it doesn't most weekends. Tomorrow's Monday, which means most people will be back at work, but the festival keeps going. Tuesday's the last day, and they'll do the closing ceremony around 6 in the evening, followed by the raffle drawings. If you bought tickets, make sure you're there for that. Got the usual stack of letters this week. Turns out people still write even when there's a festival going on. Let's see what's here. First one's from Michael. Eddy, my daughter's starting college next fall, and we've been looking at schools. She wants to go somewhere far away, California, maybe New York, and I'm struggling with it. I know she needs to leave and find her own path, but Blackpine's her home. Our whole family's here. I'm worried she'll leave and never come back. How do you let go when you don't want to? Michael, this is hard, and I'm not going to pretend it isn't. Watching your kids leave is one of the most difficult things parents go through, especially when they're going far away. But here's what I'd tell you. If she wants to go, let her go. Support her. Help her. Be excited for her even when you're scared. Because if you try to hold her back, if you make her feel guilty about leaving, that'll damage your relationship in ways that might not heal. She might leave and never come back. That's true. Or she might leave and come back after a few years, or she might leave and stay gone, but visit often and stay close to you in other ways. You don't know yet, and neither does she. She's 18, maybe 19. She doesn't know what she wants long term. Very few people do at that age. What matters is that she knows home is here if she needs it, that you're proud of her, that leaving doesn't mean losing you. I left Blackpine when I was 20 and stayed gone for 30 years. Moved to Seattle, built a whole life there. My mother let me go without making me feel bad about it, and that meant everything. When I did come back years later, it felt like coming home because it had always been home, even when I was gone. Your daughter might come back, Michael, or she might not. But either way, she'll always be your daughter, and Blackpine will always be where she's from. That doesn't change just because she goes to college in California. Next letter, this one's from Helen. Eddy, last week you talked about friendships from when we were young and how those relationships matter. It made me think of my best friend from high school. We haven't spoken in 15 years. No big falling out, just life taking us in different directions. I found her phone number yesterday and called her. We talked for 2 hours, like no time had passed at all. We're getting coffee next week. Thank you for the reminder that it's never too late. Helen, that's wonderful. I'm really glad you reached out to her, and I'm glad it went well. 15 years is a long time, but good friendships have a way of picking up right where they left off. Enjoy that coffee. Thanks for writing. Next one here. Eddy, I need your help giving a shout-out to my best friend Carrie. Honestly, I don't know what I'd do without her. We've been singing together for years now, every Thursday night, without fail. She and I get together and just sing our hearts out. She knows all my favorite songs, never judges me when I hit the wrong notes, and she's always encouraging me to try new things. So, I'd just like to shout out the best singing partner, karaoke. Last week, karaoke and I tackled some Sinatra, and let me tell you, it was rough, but we had the best time. Karaoke, if you're listening to this right now, I just want you to know you're the best singing partner anyone could ask for. Thursday nights are the highlight of my week because of you. Thank you for always being there, karaoke. Well now, that's really sweet. Singing with friends, making music together, that's a special thing to have in your life. It takes dedication to meet up every single Thursday like that, and it sounds like you and Carrie have built something meaningful. Carrie, your friend clearly treasures those Thursday nights with you, and from the sound of it, you've been a real source of joy and encouragement for them. That's what friendship's all about, showing up, being supportive, sharing something you both love. Keep those Thursday sessions going, both of you. That's time well spent. One more letter, short one from Dorothy. Library closed Monday for the festival, back open Tuesday. There you go. If you were planning to go to the library tomorrow, don't. Dorothy's taking a day off, which she deserves. That's the letters for tonight. Let me tell you one quick thing about apples before we wrap up. If you've ever been to a Halloween party or a fall festival, like the one we're having right now, you've probably seen apple bobbing. People lean over a tub of water trying to grab apples with their teeth, getting their faces soaked in the process. It's a silly game, but it's been around for a long time. Apple bobbing goes back centuries, actually. It started as a British tradition, part of autumn harvest celebrations, and eventually became associated with Halloween. Young people would bob for apples as a kind of fortune-telling game. If you got the apple on your first try, you'd find true love within the year. If it took you several tries, well, you'd have to wait a bit longer. It was all in good fun, a way to celebrate the harvest and the abundance of apples in the fall. The game made its way to America with European settlers and became part of our own autumn traditions. These days, we don't worry so much about the fortune-telling aspect. It's just a fun, messy activity that gets people laughing and reminds us that fall is here. Now, here's something interesting. Ever wonder why apples float in the first place? Most fruits don't. If you drop a peach or a plum in water, it sinks right to the bottom. But apples bob on the surface, which is the whole reason the game works. The reason is simple. Apples are about 25% air. A quarter of an apple's volume is just air pockets inside the fruit, spread throughout the cellular structure. Those air pockets are what make apples light enough to float, and they're also why apples are crunchy when you bite into them. The air pockets collapse under pressure, creating that satisfying, crisp texture. So apple bobbing isn't just a silly game. It's a tradition that survived for centuries, made possible by the simple fact that apples are full of air. Next time you see someone dunking their face in a tub of water trying to grab an apple, you'll know there's history behind it. That's your apple fact for tonight. Short and sweet, just like this episode. So the festival wraps up Tuesday evening with the closing ceremony and raffle drawings. Then, Wednesday, the very next day, it's Halloween. No break, no pause, just straight from one celebration into another. That's Blackpine for you. We don't stop moving in October. I imagine Main Street's going to look strange on Wednesday. All the festival booths will be gone, replaced by kids in costumes going door to door. The same street that was packed with people eating apple fritters will be filled with ghosts and superheroes and whatever else kids are dressing up as these days. It's the same space, completely different energy, barely 24 hours apart. My wife's already bought candy for trick-or-treaters. She does it every year, always buys too much, and we end up eating the leftovers until Christmas. I'm not complaining. I like having a bowl of mini chocolate bars within reach. One of the perks of Halloween, when you don't have kids of your own anymore. After Halloween, we're into November properly. The leaves will be mostly gone by then, temperatures will drop further, and we'll start thinking about Thanksgiving. The year's winding down faster than it feels like it should. That's how it goes, I suppose. I'll be back next Sunday, November 4th, with regular programming, more news, more letters, and more stories. By then, the festival will be over, Halloween will be done, and we'll be settling into the quiet part of autumn before winter really hits. Until then, enjoy the festival if you're going. Eat too much, walk around, talk to your neighbors. Enjoy these last few days of good weather. That's what it's for. Thank you for listening tonight, even if you're down at the festival with a radio in your car, or you're home resting your feet like I should be. This is Eddy Franklin, and you've been listening to Blackpine After Dark on KB5 104.7 FM. Good night, Blackpine. See you next Sunday.